ask you just one thing.
Mm.
Is it possible for a householder to get total freedom
Why not?
because of mundane activities?
No, absolutely no. No impediment. The realization of the self is not obscured nor reduced because of anything external particularly, except wherein the attention goes and dwell amongst those things. Then you may say, because the attention is very important, it is what is really the pilot light for all experiencing, because wherever the attention goes, we are calling that is our experience. So in the same way that even somebody could be a yogi who lives alone in a forest, but yet the mind is not dwelling inside the heart, and somebody living in a city or having a house, have to pay rent, take care of your children, your family, and your extended family and all of that, but still be able to maintain a mind with deep serenity in it, and a natural abidance in the self beyond any effort, due to the power of their realization or recognition of the truth. So none of these things ever really made a difference. The mistake has been made because people think that one type of activity is more conducive to freedom than another one. I say it's not true. It's not the activity. It's the one who is practicing it. And if we understand that the one who is practicing or not practicing itself is a concept, this is the most acute recognition anybody can have. That as long as you think there's a you who can do something or not do it, then you must find out what this you is. If it is the final place of truth, or whether it's just a kind of a portrait of the self created in the mind. This you have to find out. And there's a lot of resistance ordinarily from the mind because I would say conditioning, the belief in being a person and the attachment to the belief of being a person, which then has a fear that it might get exposed and realize that it's not a person at all. And that creates it creates fear in the mind of that, apparent, entity or person, But it's all the time, always just consciousness. But the consciousness now is under extreme narcotic influence of the identity that I am the body, I am the person. It has fallen in love with identity, which is a severe limitation upon its original state. Because this is what can happen. But it can only happen to the dynamic consciousness, the consciousness that manifests then. The Supreme Self is left like undiscovered. In the life, it seems like the truth is that the self, the truth, has to be discovered. By whom? It has to be discovered by itself, actually. But where the game becomes true, becomes real and powerful, is that the only way that the self can forget itself is by dreaming or imagining that it is something other than what it is. But whilst in the position of the body-mind identity, it completely overlaps or, forgets itself and believes itself to be the body-mind. And then because of this body-mind mistake, so to speak, because I don't see it as an ultimate mistake, I see that it is a device that consciousness creates in order to make this whole game of existence what it seems to be, of transcendence and journey and self-discovery, all of this, which I now see to be dream. But once thought it was totally, I was totally zealous about finding out, this has to be found out. But I saw that it is dream, and that it's not a mistake. It's like a divine production, or something. But the consciousness does forget, so to speak. Although in a way it cannot forget, because it was there before forgetting and remembering. Forgetting and remembering are states inside consciousness, which it imagines or creates. Actually, it cannot forget itself, ultimately. It can only be itself. It cannot even not be itself. You see, it cannot even not be itself. But this is the dichotomy, and this is the mystery, that in order to have the taste of forgetting itself, it can only dream it. And while dreaming it, it takes itself to be the body-mind and suffers the consequence of a limited identity with the body-mind, suffers this, and the very suffering produces the aspiration to go beyond the body-mind temporary comfort as is imagined inside the consciousness when it takes itself to be the person. This is what is happening. You see, it actually cannot forget. But in the experience of life, in the way that we experience it and who we think we are, all of this has very, very powerful consequences. That we, whoever we conceive ourselves to be, and mostly we conceive ourselves to be a person, born on a certain day to these parents, living in a certain place, speaking this type of language, schooled in a certain place with this type of certificate, and graduated with this type of honors in this type of thing. This is all the palette of consciousness. This is all the colors of the consciousness. When it is in that state, it is called ignorance. But who will call it ignorance? Only the one who is awake to it will call it ignorance. Because the one who is unconscious about it, who itself is illusory, will not be able to say that it is ignorance. Because for that person, for that consciousness in that state of identity, their own identity will be their profound starting place and reference for whatever, anything else that they conceive of to be true or not true. But nothing can be true because the very starting point is based upon a false identity. You follow? In such ways is suffering created. It's an exquisite manifestation. It is the most profoundly simple way of perceiving it. I mean, we can put pretty much the same argument in different styles of expression, but my feeling is that it boils down to that. One who really sees can find a common thread through all the varying expressions. With the understanding, whatever occurs is never as strong as the space of the self. That's where it leaves you. Whatever arises cannot compete with the potency of the self, if you want to call it potency. And therefore, the self is never lost. It's like a kind of self-attention that is not being kept by an entity. So nothing really sticks to it, not deeply. I am very, very optimistic, greedy, foolish maybe, in thinking that everyone can awaken to the truth. It's maybe my naivety. If it has been understood in the heart already that we are that, then why should we not come to the recognition of that? Why? Because there's this powerful fascination of the self for the temporary, for the passing, the love for dualistic experiencing and dualistic identity and so on. But what creates this? People say, but why would God create something? Why would the consciousness, the supreme being, create such a condition whereby it itself in its aspect as people suffer so much? What is the point of it? These questions, although they appear to be wise, for me they seem foolish. I say, why not? Why do we play any game at all? I mean, who can explain why the sun is and why the moon is and why the stars come out We can say, okay, the sun and the moon, okay, yes, 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 and we need them for life on the planet, but the stars as well? Do we need the stars? Do we need worms? People say, yeah, we need the worms. Okay, mosquitoes? No, I mean, who says why things should be like this? I can only say that there still seems inside a profound wisdom, a great beauty, a wisdom that no human being can transcend. It is absolutely immaculate. And it is the creation of my Father. And I am fully alive, grateful, happy in being able to perceive this. Who am I, you may say, who say these things? I can say many things. I am nothing at all. I am delightfully nothing, timelessly nothing. Joyfully nothing, exquisitely nothing. And yet, none of this can be without me. Sometimes I would have a feeling, did I anger my Father? Did I anger God? That my body should be in this state now, like this. Did I speak too arrogantly? I don't know. Because even this state of pain and huge discomfort in the body, I can only perceive with joy. Perhaps if my body was as healthy as yours is, I wouldn't appreciate it. Some of the happiest people I know are sick and dying right now. They have a full appreciation of life. They have a full, not appreciation only, but a wisdom that comes only when you're running out of moves. When you don't have options to flirt with. Still, if the choice was there, you would say, yes, I would wish to be healthy now. Health with appreciation. Right now, I am here right now. That's the only confirmed thing I can tell you. And that I am not what is perishable. If one comes to the realization that you've always been, even from the days of Christ or Buddha or Shiva, in their physical manifestation, in what way can you conceive of yourself as being present there, even in those times till now? You'd have to dismiss your personality and all your attachments. You have to come back here to be only here. You don't have to go back in time. You don't have to go back in time. Forget about time. This has been my great fortune in this life. And I am happy to share with you.
Thank you. When I look for what I am, I just find silence. But then I go, why? If I find I'm silence, fear can come. Why fear can come about bodily existence?
Once you come to that place, you are to shut up and don't pursue anything.
Yeah.
No question is there in that silence. It's not made by silence, the question, nor any doubt. It's just right there. The serpent's voice is lurking, and you must discern and forget about any questions and just be. Don't take any responsibility for what your next thought should be, what your next action should be, what your next concern should be. Almost like an empty vessel, but the world will not understand these type of words. It's not the world that understands. It's the consciousness. It's not even the mind by itself that understands. It's grace infusing its power in the mind of consciousness that brings life, to them. And it is grace and the self that responds, if you can say it like that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very great, very great, very great.